definitely got weight. What is this? Dude, this is big. This is big. Oh, look at that. Oh my god. Look at the head. Welcome back. Another kayak venture today. Today we're doing something a little bit different than the normal. Normally, I bring out all of the big guns, all the bells and whistles, but today we're going super minimalist. I'm gonna just bring the bare bones, the absolute minimum that you need to go kayak fishing. So if you're looking to get into kayak fishing, here's a good little rundown of a few of the essentials that you need. So we'll just start at the nose of the kayak and work all the way to the back. So here's nothing. Normally I have a motor right here, but today I'm not going with the motor, just gonna go straight up paddle power, which we'll get to in a second here. But I have this camera boom. Typically you wouldn't need that unless you wanted to film something, so I have that on there, and that's just attached to a little mount here, that gear track on the side. Also, these that are more mounts wouldn't really need that, but I have them on here permanently, so that's why they're there. I have a dry bag here, so this is something that you would need if you want to bring any camera gear, anything that you don't want to get wet. Essentially needs to go in here, unless actually with this kayak I have a little storage compartment here, so technically I wouldn't need this, but I have all kinds of camera gear and stuff in here, so that's why I brought that. The seat, underneath the seat I have one bag of tackle. I'm gonna be throwing swim baits today, so I have a bag of swim baits here, and underneath that actually is a little bit more, just some loose ends like swivels, hooks. Probably don't even need that, but I'll just bring it just in case. That's that. I brought one rod, a spinning reel, the 3000 size reel, not even the fancy schmancy conventional setup that I would normally bring out here. Just gonna go super low end, a little bit finesse. Moving on, we have the paddle. So you need a paddle to move around on the kayak. That's one thing you do need. I have a net here. I'm gonna use that to net any fish that I potentially will catch today. Hopefully we can get that Promar net to good use. A life jacket, super important to have a life jacket. Yeah, you just need to be prepared to get in the water. Even if you don't anticipate going in the water, you be prepared to do so, just the off chance that that might happen. So there's that. Get this out of the way. One more bit of safety gear here is a little manual bilge pump. So this is just in case somehow your kayak gets a crack, or water gets inside the hull. This is a hollow hull, so in here it can fill up with water if something happens. So you have that to pump that out just in case. And then moving on to this stuff. This stuff is kind of extra stuff, so I'm gonna be fishing today. So one thing I need is a ruler to measure any fish that might be of minimum size in order to keep them. I have a stringer here to put my fish on, and then finally I have this kayak bag, or the kill bag, to put any fish in there that I'm gonna keep. So yeah, these things are kind of extras. You could just bring a little manual, little handheld ruler, and then you don't need a stringer or a kill bag really, but in order to keep your fish nice and fresh, I think a kill bag definitely helps. And then one more thing on my body is a wetsuit. So if you're going to go kayaking in the ocean, wetsuit is critical. Like I said earlier, you got to be prepared to get in the water even if you don't anticipate going in. Just in case that does happen, you need to be ready so you don't get hypothermia out there. Oh, I guess one more thing, some water. That's key. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We're gonna go super minimal today. Yeah, there's a little bit of a tricky swell going on here, so I think actually having less gear is going to help me with a little bit easier of a launch. But regardless, never want to take it for granted. So one thing that's super important, especially if you're not super comfortable with the launch, if the waves are a little bigger or you just haven't done it before, it always pays to just kind of hang out and watch the sets roll in for a little bit. And when the bigger kind of waves are rolling in, you can kind of see where they're breaking, where they're not breaking, kind of look and see how the currents are moving. Just poke my finger on the kayak. And really want to plan out a line that you want to take out. Do I want to head out over here? Do I want to head out over here? You really want to hit a line and then stick to that line, and once you go for it, just go. Don't question it. If you flip, you flip, but if you question it at all, that really hurts your chances of staying dry. So anyway, just out here for a little bit. We're seeing a nice lull right now. Let's get out there. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. All right, we made Alright, one more thing that I forgot to mention is you should always have your VHF radio with you. Even if you're not out here with any of your friends like I am today, it's good to have this in case of emergency so you can call Coast Guard to get help if you need it. Hopefully we don't need that today, but you know, this is what you have to have. And on that note, let's do some fishing. So I brought one rod out with me today. It's this little 3000 size reel with like an 8.6 rod, I think this is. Yeah, like a finesse, like my surf perch setup essentially. And this is what I always tell people, like, don't worry about buying a bunch of fancy rods. If you have something that might work, try it out first, because there's a good chance that it will work, and then you can go from there. And what I have on here is 30 pound, or maybe this is 40 pound, I'm not sure, braided mainline, which is great. Perfect for throwing swim baits, which is what we're gonna do. But we do need to have a little bit of leader on there for abrasion resistance, because we're gonna be banging this swim bait off the rocks. And not only that, the Lingcod that we're gonna be targeting have big teeth that are super abrasive. So we need something with a little bit thicker diameter. Fluorocarbon is the perfect tool for that. So we're gonna tie about, I don't know, 3 or 4 foot fluorocarbon leader. Honestly, I don't think the visibility is much of a problem. It's mostly just for abrasion resistance. So what I have in here is my Ahi GT4. This is 30 pound fluorocarbon. Honestly, a little bit light. Let me see if I have 40 pound. Yeah, 40 pound. Okay, this is what we're gonna use. I'm gonna tie a 3 or 4 foot bumper here, and then we'll tie our swim bait directly onto that. Really quickly, just want to mention Promar is currently running a Father's Day sale. So anything you see on their website is 20% off via the promo code DHF. Anything from that net you see behind me to the fluorocarbon leader I'm tying on, anything you find on their website, 20% off. See if I can not tangle myself up here. Set my drag. Pretty good. So I got about a 3 foot leader, 40 pound fluorocarbon to a swim bait. This one's kind of beat up, but it's what I already had rigged up from the last time I was doing this. So pretty simple. We're just gonna take this, give it a cast towards the rocks. And we're over a reef here, so all I'm gonna do is just let it sink to the bottom and then slowly retrieve it along the bottom, and hopefully if there's any lingcod down there that are hungry, they're just gonna come up and smoke it. Yeah, I don't really want to drag it on the bottom because you're a little more liable for snags and stuff, but just keeping it right as close to the bottom as you can without dragging the bottom. Oh, is that a bite? Really what I should do here is get my net ready. Don't want to be preparing this when we have fish on the end of the line. Alright, now we're ready. There we go, there's a fish. Don't hammer it. There we go. Let's see how big this one is. Oh, there he goes. Come on in. Oh, borderline keeper. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Come on down. Alright, in the net. We're on the board. Pull them out. No motor, no fish finder, but a nice healthy blue Lingcod there. I think it's probably pretty close to a keeper, but I think we're just gonna let this one go. You know, let's just measure him just in case. If he's 23, we'll keep him. How about that? I have a feeling this is gonna be like right on 21 or right on 22, which is the minimum size. If it is, we'll just let him go. Ooh, it's so close. Definitely a keeper. It's 22 and a half, but we'll just let him go. First fish of the day. can see he's got all those, like, I don't know what those are considered, parasites or leeches or whatever on his face and on the bottom of their skin. Totally harmless as long as you cook them, but anyway, we'll let him go. All right, let's see if we can get another one. Oh, I also didn't mention, I switched up the swim bait color a little bit. This is a green with white on bottom, a little more natural color. I don't know, the other one just wasn't getting any bites, so switched to this, and literally first cast, I got a fish. So this is one of my favorite colors for lingcod. There we go, there's a fish. Oh, that might be a good one. Almost dead sticking it straight down. Yeah, that's gonna be a keeper, I think. Oh, it's about the same as the last one almost. Alright. Number 2. Alright, I'm not sure. This one might be a little bit smaller than the first one. We'll take a look on the board. If he's 22.5 or bigger, I'll keep him. But I don't think he's gonna be that big. Yeah, this one's about 21.5, so definitely not keeper. But that's fish number 2. No motor, no fish finder, only one rod and a swim bait. All right. Release him. There he goes. That last one came just as I was like almost right below the kayak, just kind of hopping it up and down off the bottom like this. I wasn't even really swimming it like I would when I was out farther. So another good technique, just kind of swim it back until you can't really swim it anymore, and then just kind of bounce it up off the bottom. I feel like sometimes when you're just hopping it like this and it really hits those rocks, just like wakes the fish up, and they come out and what's going on? And they come up. Head shakes in this one. Let's see, is this even a Lingcod? What is this? Dude, this is big. This is big. What is this? Dude, this is a Lingcod. It's definitely a keeper. Look at that. Look at that weight. Big, whatever it is, definitely got weight, good head shakes. I think it's a ling. I think it's just a good sized lingcod. Oh yeah, really nice one. Oh my god, leave this in the net. Oh, look at that. Oh, big one for in here. Flash the camera. Wipe off the camera after that one, but this one's coming home with us. Oh my god. Oh moly. Was not expecting a lingcod of that caliber in here. Oh my god. Look at the head. If I was looking for a keeper lingcod down there, I had a couple of, well, one I could have kept, the second one was too small. But both are right on the borderline there. But this one, oh man, is that a keeper. This fish has similar colors. I said this in the last video, but These fish, they're really good at camouflaging with whatever the ocean floor looks like down there. So I gotta believe a lot of kelp, you know, with all this brown on there, and then you can see inside the mouth it's got that blue flesh. So when I fillet this one up, the meat's gonna be blue. Really cool fish. I'll throw him on the board real quick. We already know he's a keeper, way over 22. I feel like he's at least 28, 29, if not 30. Oh yeah, easy 32. Yeah, 32 incher. Woo. Man, that's a good one for inshore like this. When I hooked him, I wasn't even really sure if it was a lingcod because it was fighting so hard, so dang heavy. Thought maybe it was a halibut or something, but definitely not a halibut. Turned out to be just a stud lingcod, biggest one I've caught in a while. I don't even know when the last time I caught one this big was. So anyway, we'll take care of this guy, bonk and bleed him, get a couple of really nice fillets on this fish. But yeah, I think we're gonna end it on that. It's a good fish to end it on. I'll talk a little bit about the landing on the way in here because it's gonna be, I don't know, it shouldn't be, well, it's gonna be like a 50-50 type landing, a little bit dicey. So I'll talk a little bit about what I do to, basically what I do to prepare to a landing that I'm not so sure is gonna end the way I want it to. All right, so I'm right outside the break here, and the first thing I'm gonna do is anything that doesn't float, or you know, that I don't want it to get wet. If I don't want it to get wet, I'm gonna put it all in a dry bag. So that's why I have this thing here, not only for my cameras, but also any phones, wallet, keys that you don't want to lose and you don't want to get wet. I'll throw it in here. So I actually got my radio in here too. I'm gonna put this camera in there also because this one's not waterproof, and then I'll film with this one here. But what I'm also gonna do is actually take off my reel off of this fishing rod and put the reel in here, because even though the reel can get wet, it's really not good for it to dunk it in the water with all that sand and salt water. It's just not good for the reel. So I'm gonna put that in here as well. And while I'm doing that, I'm just gonna take a moment, sit out here and watch the waves. The same way that I would when I was coming out. I'm gonna pick a line that I think is my best line for entry and then just run with it. Yeah, so I'll do this anytime I'm not super comfortable with the landing. You know, you never really want to go out when you know the landing's going to be tough, but sometimes the weather changes. Today I knew it was going to be a little bit rough on the re-entry, but I've done this hundreds of times, so I'm not too worried about my own safety. I'm just worried about the safety of all my gear. But if you're ever new to kayaking and you're unsure about it, I would either go with someone who's done it before, or just err on the side of caution, wait for a better day. There's also a lot of places where you can go that don't involve surf launching, like harbors, inside the bay, or even just heading out on a lake. Those are obviously a lot easier to get in and get out of. But anyway, I got the reel off of this rod, and then what I'm gonna do is fold this up and strap it down to my kayak. You know, if this is sticking straight up, it's gonna go dunk straight into the ground, you know, the sand, and likely it'll break either the rod or something in the kayak, which isn't good. So, you know what, I might be able to stick it in the, let me see if I can stick it in the paddle holder here on the side. Okay, yeah, that'll work. Yeah, so not great, but definitely better than if I had the rod sticking straight up. Have it set on the side of your kayak, just parallel to the kayak there. If I flip, this rod is, you know, it's still not great, but it's definitely not gonna break when it's on the side like this. So like I said, I've been watching the sets here for a little bit, and there's definitely times when a couple of sets roll in and there's some, you know, bigger swells rolling through, and that's the time when you don't want to go, obviously. But there's also sometimes some lulls in between, so I'm gonna try to pick a lull here. It's not always perfect. The ocean is unpredictable, so sometimes you just have to flip. That's just how it goes. The flipping gods will get you eventually. But yeah, I'm gonna put this camera away. We'll start filming with my waterproof camera, and ideally I'd have my tackle all stowed away or leashed down, but I didn't bring anything for this one. It's not gonna fit in my dry bag, so if I flip, it's possible I lose this one, unfortunately. All right, we're just about ready to give it a go. One final thing that I didn't mention is, as much as you can, you want to clear this front area, especially right to the side of you on the left and right. One, for paddling. You don't want to be running into rods or gaffs or nets or whatever when you're paddling. And then also, if you know, when you get in there, you're going to want to jump out of your kayak and pull it to shore as quickly as possible. So getting everything out of the way is just in your best interest. So I've done that here. This is totally clear. You know, normally I have fish finder, stuff like that, but today we're, like I mentioned many times already, we're going minimalist, so don't have to worry about any of that this time, which is nice. So totally clear. If I need to hop out either side, really, really easy to do so. Like I said before, pick a line. Once you commit hard, and if you flip, but at least you committed. Survived. Key there was the line. There's a couple of swells in there that definitely would have cleaned me out if I wasn't in the right spot. But last thing I'll say on flipping is don't be discouraged if you flip. Everyone flips at some point. It's just part of the process, I guess. As long as you prepare for it, even if it happens, it's not going to be a total loss. Don't be discouraged, and yeah, you'll be rewarded with fish like we caught today. Now we just got to pack up, go home, and take care of the fish. But that's be it for now. That'll be the end of this video. Thank y'all for watching. If you have any questions about any of the gear, like I said, everything that I brought today is kind of like the bare minimum if you want to go out, fish, and stay safe out there. Other than the cameras, you don't necessarily need the cameras. Anyways, appreciate all you for watching. Yeah, if you have any questions, leave a comment below, and we'll see you on the next adventure.